Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. Last time, we became Knight Commander of the 5th Crusade, which was started by Queen Galfrey. And we have been walking around our little Crusader camp here, getting to know the different individuals and seeing what's here. Now, we are ready to go and meet with the Queen here in the Queen's tent, or is this the Commander's tent? The Commander's tent. My tent, not her tent. She doesn't get a tent. Alright, so let's... Ooh, look at all this loot. Hang on, guys. Let me just take care of some of this first. Oh my goodness, look at all that loot. You guys should continue to fill these things up. That's my command. Alright. The Queen greets you with a stare. She has dropped the pompous air with which she just announced the 5th Crusade. The face of the ruler of Mendev appears calm and thoughtful. She has made her move, and now awaits her opponent's reply.
Commander, I'm satisfied with the troop review, but I do not expect they will be sufficient for the task. You will have to prove yourself a shrewd leader and hire the necessary troops with the provided funds.
Yeah, I'm not much of an economic person. I'm not an economist, you know. I just kill things. You probably put the wrong person in charge, to be honest. Actually, Manorak's super smart, so...
I have chosen a target for your campaign, and that target is Dresden, our lost outpost within the World Wound.
An easy target.
The Sword of Valor was kept there, a banner that was once carried by Iomedae herself. Our greatest relic was lost when the city fell. I should make one thing clear from the start. The Sword of Valor is no mere symbol, but a powerful weapon against demons. The holiness of the banner weakens them and robs them of one of their most dangerous abilities, teleportation.
Sounds great.
A forced march to Dresden awaits you. The Sword of Valor is kept somewhere within the Citadel. The demons probably think it's a hunting trophy. Its recovery is just as important as retaking the city itself. I hope the task is clear. I'm sending 2 specialists to help you, along with the soldiers. A historian, Nura Denduar, and a cleric, Soziel Bainik.
Soziel. The Queen nods to the human man and the young halfling woman standing next to her.
One of the famous inquisitors of the Church of Iomedae also wants to talk to you.
Uh-oh.
The Honorable Leota, whom everyone calls Hawkblade.
Leota. Isn't that, is that Holden's right hand? He's not gonna like me.
I do not wish to keep you, Commander. The matter I must discuss with you is extremely important, but it is not directly related to the Crusade. You no doubt wish to meet your new comrades and speak with Her Majesty. Therefore, I shall leave you now, but I ask that you seek me out in the camp at your earliest convenience.
Hi! Listen, it's amazing here. It's like I'm in a ballad. There's knights in shining armor, deadly dangers, glorious feats. We are going to show those demons! I'm so tired of sitting in a library reading books about history. It's time I took part in it!
Were these 2 voiced before?
I'm glad to help our cause, Commander. If you have some time later, I'd like to speak with you further.
You'll have plenty of time to talk. You're the Knight Commander's people now, his trusted advisors and companions.
Well, not
Now
yet.
then, will you please leave us? Irabeth, you can go too.
Alright, just you and me alone. Hey, girl. Nah, I'm just kidding. Manorak's not interested in you. You're too goody two-shoes. Although, she's got some darkness in her, according to the, if the devil path is anything to go by. And basically what she does to us in Act 3? Beginning of Act 3? Or is that the end of Act 3? I don't remember. When we met at the Defender's Heart, I never imagined you'd make me the commander of the new crusade. Yeah, pretty spontaneous.
Some actions may be deemed bold or even extreme, and beyond those, there are some you might call the Queen's last resort. I am not a simple monarch. I am at war with the Abyss, a war which has lasted over 100 years. I cannot allow myself the luxury of caution. In you, I see a chance, and I am willing to stake everything on it. However, you cannot blame me for putting you in charge of the crusade. I only formalized what had already happened in the hearts and minds of many. People spoke of the power that descended upon you and helped you save the Wardstones from corruption and total destruction. Word of this feat quickly spread far beyond the borders of Mendev. There was no other person who could better fit the role of Knight Commander of the Fifth Crusade.
I couldn't agree more. I have some questions about my mission to retake Dresden.
Of course, I shall answer.
How did the demons manage to conquer it? We know this already.
That's a good question. Its walls were built by dwarf craftsmen, and the power of the Sword of Valor protected the city. Alas, where raging hordes failed, a single lying tongue was all they needed to succeed. The demoness Minago convinced a young and ambitious crusader named Staunton Vane that the banner belonged on the battlefield. He went on a daring and unapproved raid, and the banner ended up in the enemy's hands. The city fell soon after. Ever since then, for 7 decades, it has served as a citadel for the forces of the Abyss.
Staunton Vane. I saw him at the Great Garrison. He defected to the demon's side.
Oh, really? I wasn't informed of this.
Really?
After Dresden fell because of Staunton, he was nearly sentenced to death. He deserved it. In wartime, men are hanged for far less. But you have no idea what a terrible sight it is. A raging crowd of crusaders baying for blood. Never have my fighters looked so much like the demons we are fighting. I commuted Staunton's sentence and stripped him of his rank. Not just for him, but for my army and my country. We are not Hell Knights. We do not maintain discipline with public executions.
Well, I mean, you don't have to do everything like that, but there are some exceptions, right? You should have exiled him as the chaotic one, let him go wherever he wanted. That way he would have either changed his life for the better or realized he had no one to blame but himself. Or I can't believe no one decided to punish him unofficially. Go with that one.
Not in my army. I know all too well that the armies of some kingdoms tolerate humiliation, beatings, and even murder. Their commanders imagine it brings their soldiers together and enforces discipline. Anyone who tries to introduce such rules in Mendev will face a tribunal, along with anyone who tries to shield them, even upper command.
You don't get out much, do you? I mean, the guy was obviously being humiliated for the last 70 years. Which is why he decided to betray us again. For real this time. What forces are at my disposal?
Everyone we saw today at the parade. First among them, the Eagle Watch, who remain a powerful force thanks to Irabeth's resourcefulness. Also marching with you are several minor knightly orders, as the minor volunteer units like to be called. And finally, I have personally selected some recruits from Nerosian. They have little in the way of battle experience, but great determination and a thirst to prove themselves. I've always thought that an army benefits from at least one such unit. These forces, as I said, are not enough for a march on Dresden. You will have to hire additional troops with the funds that have been provided to you. But for a brave commander, and I hope you are one, that is just the beginning. If you retake Dresden, recover the holy power of the Sword of Valor, and gain a foothold in the region, then new armies will join under your banner. The Fifth Crusade is only beginning. Many battles and victories lie ahead.
I just had a cool, if not somewhat cliche thought for Manarak and why he's another reason why he might be going down the demon path is she was talking about how she saw her army behaving like the demonic hordes they were fighting. Maybe he's thinking you have to become the enemy in order to defeat them kind of thing. That's kind of neat. It's not like a crazy original idea, but I think it's cool for this concept. It's been decades and no one has managed to retake the city. Why do you think we're different?
We have a chance now that we haven't seen in decades. But it's more than that. You created this chance for us by foiling the demon's plans in Canabris. The army who attacked the city came straight from Dresden. Demon hordes from the Abyss are usually encamped there, but many of them perished on the streets of Canabris. We must attack swiftly, before they can restore their forces. When the city is free and the Sword of Valor appears before our soldiers, they won't be sending in any more reinforcements. Demons cannot teleport into an area protected by the banner of the goddess.
What about long-term goals? Do you know how to get rid of the World Wound forever?
Now you are talking like a real knight commander. However, answering your question is not easy. To win this war, we must bar the demon's way. There are a few planar rifts leading to the Abyss across the territory we call the World Wound. The best specialists we could find have tried to close them on separate occasions, with no success, as you may have guessed.
Yep, that's obvious.
The World Wound is more than just a chain of portals to the Abyss. We do not understand its nature yet. The methods of rift closure known to magical science simply do not work here. However, we have a hypothesis, and a rather well-grounded one, that we must begin at the source of the problem, the place where the World Wound was opened. The main rift lies through the city of Iz and the Threshold Fortress, deep in the former lands of Socorus. We have never managed to fight our way so far and gain a foothold to allow the mages to explore the origins of the World Wound. So, the next step, after you succeed in Dresden, is an offensive push deeper into the World Wound, with the aim of reaching Threshold, the very threshold of the Abyss.
No more questions?
Wonderful.
Did you know that the souls of angels from heaven are combined in the Wardstone?
I had guessed as much. Many angels fought alongside us in the First Crusade. Heaven was unable to mobilize its full might to aid us, but individual celestials volunteered to fight for our cause. Then one day, they all vanished, saying that they were setting off on an important mission. Not long after, Iomede's herald erected the first wardstone in Canobris, and then the others in cities across Mendev. Even back then, I had nagging doubts, but my faith in Iomede easily assuaged them. It is for us to serve the goddess after all, not to question her works. In any case, I am glad you did not allow the demons to commit sacrilege and gain control over the wardstone in Canopris. We might have lost one of the wardstones, but the chain is still standing.
You should know I received an unusual gift in the caves beneath Canabris. In a vision, I saw the death of an angel called Lariel. Somehow, he was able to grant me the ability to reveal the light of heaven. Nope, I don't want to tell her that. I don't want to reveal my secret. Do you remember this?
Get this. I thought this relic was destroyed many years ago. How strange it is to see it whole again. At one time, it gave me hope. I am pleased that this object will serve the Crusade once more.
I had a vision of Iomede giving her covenant to you.
I was young and did not fully understand the magnitude of the duty that had been entrusted to me. Iomede gave me hope and strength to see me through the trials ahead, and in so doing, she won my everlasting loyalty.
Do you still remember the oath you swore in battle?
Always. No matter how arduous, no matter how dark the skies, no matter how much blood flows from my wounds, I shall stand with you. We shall fight for our loved ones and our friends, for the right to live and die free. We shall do everything we possibly can, and after that, we shall begin to do the impossible. And if the hour should come when our arms can no longer raise our swords, our bodies will become a shield to cover those who still have strength to fight. I, Golfrey, Queen of Mendev, swear this to you. This is my vow.
You withstood a blow from Marilu Vorlish in that battle.
I would proudly declare that to be true, and say that even Aurilu Vorlish could not kill me on her first attempt. But to do so would be boasting. I was protected by my goddess. However, I was glad to see that, no matter how great the betrayer of humanity's power, it is nothing as compared to Iomede's might.
I would like to keep wearing this relic.
Then so you shall. What matters is that the Covenant of the Inheritor has been recovered. Perhaps it should be in your hands now, because you have greater need of it. But should you ever feel that you no longer need this relic, I ask that you give it to me. I would be delighted to touch it again.
What are you going to do?
Overlooking a spot of insubordination just at the moment. However, I shall answer you. I shall prepare the defenses at Nerosian and all the other border cities and plan the future of the Fifth Crusade. Does that satisfy your curiosity, Knight Commander?
My queen, I'd ask you to remain with us. The Dresden campaign is the hope of the crusade, and the blessing of Iomedae that you carry may be decisive in this battle. Thank you for your reply.
Of course.
And we don't want her looking over her shoulder. We're gonna do some things she's probably not gonna agree with, according to
Splendid.
how she thinks she runs her country.
Yes. We have one final matter to attend to. It should be rather enjoyable.
Oh? I mean, the bed's over there. Oh.
Count, there you are. You received my instruction?
I mean, a threesome with your cousin? I don't know.
I did, though I did not have time to read the thing before I was dragged before your majesty. In truth, I was readying myself to depart.
No matter. I trust you will forgive your sovereign for the rather brusque summons, especially when you learn what prompted it. As you are aware, he has recently been appointed my Knight Commander of the Fifth Crusade.
That's me.
I spent a long while pondering whom to appoint to the highly sensitive post of Commander's Field Attaché and Advisor Plenipotentiary without portfolio. Congratulations, Count.
Plenipotentiary without portfolio. Oh, man.
It is a great honor, I suppose.
Darren's cool expression wavers, but he seems not to be fully cognizant of what is happening. That, or he is holding himself tightly in check. That's a great idea. A rather frivolous gesture for a queen. What a wonderful gesture, Your Majesty. I imagine our dear Count would have been inconsolable if you hadn't given him the chance to serve the common cause. Yeah, let's go, Chaotic.
I knew you would approve, Commander.
The queen bestows a smile on you, then brings her gaze to rest on Darren once more.
I had my doubts about whether you were ready for such a responsibility, Count, but your conduct in Kenobris has put my mind at ease. So, you will travel with the troops to Dresden. Only the commander may remove you from your post. But I trust that you will dutifully fulfill his orders and make a good showing of yourself. Especially since word of your appointment, Count, will reach the court at any moment. All of Mendev's nobility will be following your successes in service to the nation, including all of your devoted admirers. I even heard that one bard with whom you are particularly friendly has already begun composing a ballad to honor your heroic participation in the crusade and your faithful service to the commander here.
Your largesse truly knows no bounds, dear cousin. I am most gratified by the honor you have shown me.
The Count offers a bow, either as a sign of respect or in order to hide his flushed face. Only the barest quiver can be heard in his voice. Quaver.
Then let's get going. May Iomedae help us.
Yeah. May we help ourselves. Anevia? Oh, you're not here to talk. I suppose that's fine. Okay, so we're about halfway through level 6. Alright. Hey. Anevia sweeps an inquisitive glance over you. So, tell me straight. How'd that brawl at the Great Garrison end? I heard the rumors, of course. That's kind of my job, you know? To listen. You've no idea what cobblers the Crusaders say about you. Some say that Iomedae came to you and appointed you her herald. Others say that you died, and an honest-to-God's angel is now leading the army disguised as you. So others say it was just an explosion at an alchemist's lab, and I'm the one spreading rumors about your powers. I wish. But, you know, you really have changed since the Great Garrison. It's hard to describe, but you've become kinda... Anevia waves her hand trying to find the word. Stronger. More charismatic. More stately. Smarter. More dangerous. More dangerous. Yeah, exactly. More dangerous. I have a gut instinct about these things. If I didn't, I'd already be dead. You're dangerous, Commander. And by Desna, I hope you'll be dangerous to our enemies and not to us. Or to yourself. Alright, you watch yourself now. Alright, do we need to rest right now or anything? You've got all your spells, so I'm assuming not. Yeah, everybody... Ooh. Okay, we're gonna have to rest then. Trying to recall what's coming next. I know we got the swarm stuff, but I think we're gonna be fighting necromancers at Sauciel's place. So we're gonna want... I think there's really anything here that is gonna be super important for that. Got something there too. Okay, maybe just like false life would be good. I need her for heals. She is my personal healer, so give her that. And I suppose we should probably take this, but let's see. Delay poison, protection from energy, communal. Any other communal thing I might want from here? Or any other buff I might want? Remove blindness isn't a terrible shout. But no, we'll get the inflict serious wounds. Okay. Make sure... So you've got another shocking grasp you can use. What's my party? It's you 4, right? Are you 5? Did I replace Woljif at all? No. Hey. You're a party member. I guess I'll fill out your stuff now. Protection from evil. Protection from evil oh. Get True Strike then. Don't need 2 of those. A bunch of lesser restorations. I don't think I'm going to be taking you along very often, but I guess you will be coming with me soon. All right, so I guess we'll rest now, so everybody is ready to go. You don't have... Did you have spells that you need to put on? Yes. Not that it... Again, you're not typically going to come with me, but... And you have a ton of spells. Holy crap. Okay, I think we're just gonna get all magic missiles for you. Yeah, let's go crazy here. And then for this stuff, 2 blurs, 2 bull strengths, and 1 invisibility. That'll be good. I also got the magic deceiver stuff, which we need to respec you out of, but I'm really not gonna worry about that. Probably until we... Actually, can I even respec her yet? Do I have to wait till Dresden to respec? I don't know if we can respec. Can we go back to Canobris and respec? You know, scroll of Vanish. Yeah, it's fine. That's fine.
Keep 'em peeled, Paladin. Round and round we go. Where it stops, nobody knows. No trick, no magic, just nimble fingers. Watch closely now. We don't want no hard feelings later. 1, 2, one more time, and hey, presto! Well, which cup is the pea under?
Seriously? Out of everybody in the party, you picked me? I learned the cups and balls trick before I could talk, you little punk. Now sit down and let Sister Seela show you how it's done.
I do like Seela a lot. I do kind of wish we were being good. But we didn't really play. It's so hard. Like, our first playthrough is such a mixed bag in terms of, like, who we were. I tried to play as, like, we were a character developing. So we kind of started off of neutral, but we were kind of good, honorable. I guess honor was the main thing. We were neutral, though, right?
Head on!
And then, obviously, as we went through the Aeon path, we became more and more lawful, but then we hit the devil path. And that's when we became evil. So, yeah. Alright, let's go ahead and talk to everybody. Windowhawk greets you with a servile bow. Master, how can I serve you? What do you think of your new powers? Oh, I made the right choice when I decided to serve you, Master. This power you have given me. I always felt I was destined to possess such might. Her voice is soft and deep, like a cat's purr. That army of mongrels you promised me would be useful right about now. The hunter shrugs. Yes, they would be useful in this campaign. If we had more time and weren't in such a hurry, we'd go to Sol and show him the trophies we took from demons. He'd stop shaking in fear and summon the tribe. But the way I see it, we don't have time to waste right now. We have to deal with Sol after we conquer Dresden. Okay. Leotar? Commander, a tall man with piercing yellow-green eyes gives you a brief nod. Let me personally congratulate you on your new title and thank you for your time in advance. I'm Leotar Hawkblade, an Inquisitor of the Church of Iomedae, the Bringer of Light. I require your assistance in a certain delicate matter involving one of your companions, young Count David Arende. Are you one of Prelate Holren's followers? Leotar's face freezes for a moment, but he nods. Yes, of course. What is your opinion on his atrocities? Leotar is silent for a while. Usually people reveal such things about themselves only to their confessor, not to some curious stranger. Still, I did ask for your help, and that imposes certain obligations upon me. Let me put it like this. I spent enough years by Prelate Holren's side to learn how to keep him from going over the line. He was an extraordinary man, the vengeful sword of our goddess in human form. He was fighting in the vanguard, fearlessly taking down demons, exposing the cultist plots all by himself. He had served the Inquisition twice as long as I have, and eventually his own paranoia and monumental sense of responsibility eroded his mind. May Iomedae guard his soul. Where were you during the attack on Canabras? I was on the hunt. A very successful one, but as often happens in life, this minor success was a mere harbinger of a larger failure. If I hadn't been so far away from Canabras on the day of the attack, I might have been able to help my comrades and prevent a number of deaths. Are you aware that I was the one who killed him? I don't know why this is lawful, but I think Manarak would like to twist the knife. Leotar's face proclaims his astonishment. No, I wasn't aware. Why are you revealing this to an Inquisitor, and so calmly? That is a surprisingly bold move. Bewildered, he is at a loss for words. How did it happen? I wanted to protect a priest of Desna. He was deemed a traitor and threatened with execution. I just thought that the world would be a better place without him. Yeah, I'm gonna flex my new power here, my new status. I just thought the world would be better without him. I am speechless, Commander. Do you understand that I am obliged to pass this information on to my superiors? Most likely, you will not face any consequences, considering that you're in the Queen's good graces. But I hope you understand that the situation in Canabras was highly unusual. The laws of Mendev still prohibit murder, even if the victim is deemed a dangerous threat. Trust me, man. By the time your superiors make a decision, I will be too strong for them to stop me. Hopefully. What brings you here? I ask you to assist the Church of Iomedae in an investigation of the utmost importance. I understand that the leader of the crusade has plenty of other matters to attend to, but please allow me to tell you the details. Perhaps it will explain why I am calling upon you. The Inquisitor's open face instantly reveals his feelings. He frowns and looks through you, lost in his thoughts for a moment. I suppose that you have already heard about Count Arende's story? I referred to the tragedy of Heaven's Edge estate. Tell me about it. About 10 years ago, several powerful demons managed to penetrate the Wardstone's barrier and commit mass murder at all the guests who attended the feast and celebration of young Daren's birthday. The unknown magical disease they had brought wiped out the whole estate in less than a day. That was not a unique case in itself. The demons had attempted such raids on Mendevian lands before, but they had never dared target such a well-protected place. The Arende family was exceptionally rich. The estate was protected by elite bodyguards. There were several strong and righteous paladins among the guests. Moreover, the revered Nestrin, Daren's tutor, was one of the most powerful priests of Iomedae in the vicinity. All of them died, nonetheless, except for the young count, who had suddenly manifested manifested his outstanding sacred healing powers. Was that a divine miracle or a curse? That remains to be seen. You're going to investigate this old case again, aren't you? Yes, I am. I have several reasons to doubt the widely shared accounts of what exactly happened at the estate and how it happened. You see, Commander, I was among those sent to examine the estate after the incident. I saw everything with my own eyes, and I still remember it clearly, even though it feels like it happened a lifetime ago. Heaven's Edge was a unique place that still carried the spirit of old Mendev before the world wound, and yet on that day it turned into a labyrinthine house of horror, like something only seen in our nightmares. Apologies for the digression. I wanted to tell you about my suspicions. Everything about the incident seemed odd. Why was the only person left alive a young boy with a newfound talent for divine magic? Why did nobody send to Canabras for help, even though the agony spanned many hours? We found the demons dead, with their heads cut off. When we got into the estate, how were they defeated? How did the disease kill even the paladins present at the estate, who were said to be immune to any disease? If the demons had found a way to penetrate the Holy Warrior's defenses, why has this never been repeated since the tragedy of Heaven's Edge? You are the only person who can help me here, Commander, because the only living witness of those events is currently serving in your army. Your army's route will take you near the very site of the tragedy. Heaven's Edge has been abandoned and sealed with potent magic throughout all these years, and only the Count has the power to break that seal. He is unlikely to invite an Inquisitor inside, and in any case, he won't like me sniffing around his family seat. But if you, as his commander, express your wish to visit the estate, he will be obliged to fulfill it, and I will simply follow you as one of your attendants. There are 100 ways, 1,000 paths, and myriad loopholes in human lives that the forces of evil can use to their advantage. I'm not sure which one of those led the demons to the gates of Heaven's Edge, but I do know it wasn't a simple raid, the kind Crusaders face every day. That incident involved a significantly more powerful entity, and that is why I'm asking for your help. We cannot be sure that such a tragedy will not happen again until we uncover the truth. I've already been to this state several times. What do you expect to find now? I was a young and inexperienced Inquisitor when I first visited Heaven's Edge 10 years ago. My skills have improved significantly since then, and I have paid dearly for that. Leoter makes a vague gesture, pointing at his scars. My arsenal includes many spells and techniques dedicated to gathering information about people and events. Almost all of them require me to be physically present in the place where the event is in question happened. That is why I must return to Heaven's Edge. Why can't you just go search it yourself without involving me? The estate is abandoned and sealed with powerful containment enchantments that only the Count himself can lift. This is not the main reason, however. The main reason is that Count Arendae is not officially under investigation by the Inquisition, so I couldn't just break into his house even if I found a way to bypass the spells. This is a serious matter, Leoter frowns. A matter that threatens the reputation of the entire Church of Iomedae, and my own organization in particular. We made more than enough unforgivable mistakes during the Third Crusade, and are still dealing with their consequences. Your presence will give my investigation the necessary legitimacy, Commander. But there is more. In addition to getting official permission, I'd also like to bring an independent third-party investigator to this case. Someone independent but well-respected, and you fit the role perfectly. Did you question Davin himself? I did, but the Count insisted that he couldn't remember anything about the incident due to severe shock. He saw the demons at the very beginning when they appeared at the celebration to announce the onset of the plague and mock their victims. He also witnessed the death of his mother, Countess Selena. That was all he could tell me. Leoter pauses. We had found the young Count sleeping like a log on the floor in one of the rear chambers, having drunk about half the family wine cellar all by himself. There's no reason to disbelieve him on that matter. It's not good for a young boy. So you suspect that Dayren is hiding something? That he's to blame for the tragedy? I deliberately refuse to entertain any theories or suspicions so that it doesn't affect the investigation. There's a saying among my colleagues that suspicion is the mother of prejudice, and prejudice is married to failure. I can only tell you that Count Arendae wasn't suffering from demonic possession, the most common malaise in our country at the time. Prelate Holren himself examined the boy right after the tragedy, and he didn't sense anything awry with him. Fine, I will help you. What do you need me to do? Leotor bows his head to you with exceptional reverence. Thank you, Commander. Now I ask you to speak to the Count and tell him that you wish to see Heaven's Edge. Please do not inform him of my presence right away. I will join your escort when it's time to travel to the estate. When we get there, I will also require your help during the investigation. You have to follow me, observing my actions as an independent witness. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask me. I'll remain here for a while. Plan of Heaven's Edge? Nope. Tell me more about yourself, Inquisitor. I want to know who I am dealing with. I am Ulfin by birth, but I have lived in Mendev for most of my life, dedicating myself to the service of the Inheritor. My warrior brethren mostly worship Gorm. But I've never been eager to fight for the sake of battle alone. I was a good fighter in my early youth and could easily best most of my peers, but I didn't enjoy showing off my skills. Victory's bland on its own. Perhaps purpose adds flavor to war. I can't say that I have always been a faithful sword of Iomedae. Back in my mercenary days, fate brought me to the borders of Mendev, where I spent quite a long time among the Crusaders, fighting shoulder to shoulder with my righteous comrades in arms, and watching demons commit their atrocities eventually led me to something I had been seeking my whole life: purpose and faith. That is how I found my calling. Even though it may be hard at times, I've never regretted my decision. I have to go. Alright. So I don't know if, can I tell Daeron about this without, like, ruining the quest? I'm pretty sure in one of my playthroughs, I said I wasn't going to help him. And it kind of felt like the quest had ended. I don't know if I ever confirmed that, though. Hey, buddy.
Hello again. I'm very pleased to meet you. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
A young cleric stands before an easel, his brush hovering above the canvas without touching it. Instead of painting, the young man absent-mindedly gazes at the sky of Canabris, which is still streaked with towering plumes of black smoke. Finally, he notices you and smiles, shaking off his stupor.
It's a pity I wasn't there at the Grey Garrison to witness your feats of strength with my own eyes. The flash, however, could be seen miles and miles away. Some people were frightened of it, thinking that the demons had blown up the remains of the keep. I, for one, knew immediately that it was a good sign. The light above the city showed us that there was still hope.
Sorry if you heard me pouring the water there. I love the voice acting sections allow me to get a sip of water, so. Who are you? And how could you possibly be of any use to my army? Yeah, you stupid priest.
My name is Sozio Vanek. I am a cleric of Shaylin, the Eternal Rose and the Goddess of Beauty. Yes, I know that many people would consider me useless in a war. This is not a usual war, though. Just consider our enemy. The Abyss and his demons are the very embodiment of everything evil and ugly in the world. Perhaps a disciple of kindness and beauty might come in handy.
Nah, I don't think so. Yeah, Manarak is like backing away slowly.
I have no doubt that we will win this war, Commander. We just have to. It is our destiny. My role is to help you, and all those standing by your side in this struggle, to survive and flourish. Everyone deserves the chance to find peace and happiness in the world that they are defending so selflessly.
What are you painting? The cleric's eyes linger mournfully on the canvas. The unfinished painting depicts a temple crowned with a rainbow-tailed bird, the symbol of Shellen. 5 people dressed in robes stand before the temple. Men and women, young and old. They all gaze back at you with radiant happiness and joy in their serene eyes.
My brothers and sisters in faith. They sent me for help, and then they saved my life, Commander. If the Prioress hadn't ordered me to escape the city and seek help, I would have died right along with them. Instead, I met Queen Galfrey on my way to Nerosian, and hurriedly returned to Canabris, only to find my friends dead on the steps of our desecrated temple.
It's rough, buddy.
I want to draw them the way they live on in my memory. Wise, beautiful, and loyal to their goddess and their city to the very end.
Socio touches the edge of the canvas gently, as if patting a friend's shoulder in consolation. Sorry for your loss. They fulfilled their duty honorably. This is why you have to treasure every moment you spend with your loved ones. Today you're together, but who knows what tomorrow may bring. I hope you'll last longer than your brethren when the real battle begins.
Do not speak ill of them like that. They did everything they could.
Wasn't enough.
It's not their fault that the odds were so stacked against them.
It's their fault that they couldn't overcome the odds. Oh, man.
Now it's my duty to make sure my friends and tutors did not die in vain. I will honor their sacrifice by making this world a bit more beautiful and kind.
Yeah, the first part of that, I think Manorak could get behind. Come on, man. Beautiful and kind. Come on. What made an artist enlist in the army?
Perhaps I am a true artist, or simply an amateur who defaces canvases in my spare time. My goddess is a patron of art, so painting is part of my prayer, and I put all my heart into my pieces. But I am a cleric above all else, so I must also tend to others. I went to war because here's where I'm most needed. Sure, I could be painting idyllic landscapes and offering empty prayers to my goddess, but that won't stop people from dying. My goddess has no tolerance for false piety.
You wanted to discuss something with me, right?
Yes, I have a personal request. Before we undertake our journey and leave Canabris behind, I would like to visit Martyr Zacharias' cemetery for a funeral. It's not far from here, and it's important. I would like to pay my respects to my friends from the Temple of Shaylin who died defending the city. Also, if it's not too much trouble, I would like you to come with me to honor their memory. Their friends and family will be at the funeral, and perhaps the commander's personal presence will bring them comfort.
This is the second time I've noticed like a bit of foreshadowing in this game. Like we had Windowwalk talk about, oh, to the guard, you got to keep your eyes on the sky because demons with wings are the biggest threat to us out here in the open. And of course the gargoyles will eventually do that to us. And yeah, no, it's the gargoyles, yeah. And then here, Martyr Zacharias' cemetery, when we go there, there's going to be a necromancer that raises the dead. And Zacharias is the Lich guy, isn't he? Or at least he's connected to it. I don't remember exactly. I think I've gotten to the point, the furthest I got with the Lich path is I got to Dresden. So I actually became a Lich. But I didn't really go past that. And that was a long time ago.
I know that you are burdened by many cares right now, so I understand if you can't find the time. But if you could, I would be sincerely grateful.
Yeah, it was nice meeting you. Now I have to go.
You must be rather busy indeed. Leading a crusade all by yourself is no joke. I still believe that you are up to the task. This war has been raging for 100 years, but you've given us a chance at victory.
Yep, I'm amazing, I know. Darren, buddy. There you are. So, how do you like your new role, advisor? Darren winces. You also enjoy poking me with that stick, don't you? Imagine it. Me, a crusader. If my dearest cousin hoped to teach me a lesson, she managed it perfectly. An assignment I couldn't avoid without losing face. This idiotic journey leading straight into a demon's maw. I could have been on a pleasure boat right now, with the loveliest songstress and pictax on my arm, and a bottle of the finest Kionan wine to keep us company. You know, I don't know if it's because I'm evil, so I'm like leaning into it more. I really like Darren right now. He's I like him. Do you also receive a fraction of that unusual power, or did you? Looks like it. I genuinely hoped that getting away from you would be the end of it. If your gift truly did come from Iomade, then giving me a smidgen of that power was a very subtle joke on her part. I had no idea that our divine lightbringer of Mendev even had a sense of humor. Don't get me started on the many acts of sacrilege against her that I have done. That obscene engraving, the truth about the test of the Starstone, is the tamest one by far. I'd love to visit Heaven's Edge and see the Armande estate someday. Oh, I was just about to mention it myself. I've been thinking. Now that I'm not in the middle of this whole crusade, or now that I am in the middle of this whole crusade nonsense, I simply must devise new ways to have fun. With all the recent commotion, my birthday completely slipped my mind. What if we were to celebrate it at Heaven's Edge? It's not far from here, and you'll get to enjoy a banquet in a bona fide haunted house. Darren seems to have trouble getting the words out, which clearly indicates how rarely he has to ask for anything. Since you're my superior and I'm your advisor, I'm obliged to ask your permission to leave for the festivities. And I want to invite you too. I'm sure the commander can free up an afternoon while the soldiers are on leave. Are you really going to throw a banquet at the very place where your whole family died? Darren presses his lips for a moment before replying in a bored drawl. Yes? What of it? Am I supposed to weep and quake with fear for the rest of my life? I've stayed away from the damn place for 10 years, and now I'm going to return there to drink, dance, and be merry without a care in the world. You can keep your squeamish disapproval to yourself. I don't disapprove. I like it. Alright, deal. Let's continue the discussion after the Battle of Dresden. If you want to celebrate your triumph, we have to make it happen first. I'm not going to take part in this nonsense, and I won't let you either, advisor. Deal. Perfect. You'll have a ball. I'll make sure of it. Something strange flickers in Darren's smile. Alright. I should go. Goodbye. Yeah, we're going to talk to all of our companions, because I think all of them have a little smidget of conversation. Before we, Hey, look. And we have new loot. Oh, you're here, too. Ugh. The elf before you casually rests his bandaged arm on the weapon at his side. He bows his head with dignity. I congratulate you on your new rank, Commander. My hunt demanded that I travel with your army. Naturally, I wouldn't burden your forces with the need to care for an outsider. I provided myself with all the necessities. Cool. Hello, Commander. Teacher, how should I hold my hands when I pray? Like this or like this instead? First, you need to speak. That's mean. I'm sorry, let Manorak get to me. I'm becoming him. Sila.
Hello. So, what do you reckon about everything that's come crashing down on us? All the responsibility, command, this new power?
Sila looks anxious. She's honing her sword, but her movements seem nervous. The girl doesn't even notice you at first, but when she does, she smiles cheerlessly and stops what she's doing. This is what I was born for. I haven't figured it out yet. We'll see what happens next. It's a little overwhelming, to be honest. I was born for this.
I envy your confidence. In a good way. It's great to believe that everything is going the way it should. I'm still frightened by what happened in the Grey Garrison. Were we really chosen? By Iomade herself? You know, back when I was a snot-nosed kid who just started down the path to becoming a paladin, I imagined once or twice that I was going to do something heroic. The lights would shine down on me, the trumpets would sing, I'd hear the voice of the goddess, or at least her herald, you know? I'd be informed that I had been chosen for a great cause. But that's the point where my imagination always failed me. Somehow, it really happened. Without all the trumpets or the herald or even anyone explaining what I had to do. Though it's clear as day, my place is here, in this demon-ridden wound. Quite a lovely war going on, in fact. Endless, I hear. I'm gonna need some time to wrap my head around this. Spare me an hour and I'll crawl into some dark corner and whine about my hard lot. What can I tell you? I cry easily.
Lovely. Until next time. I don't remember that one being voiced either, but maybe I'm just like looking for. I'm expecting everything that's not like main stuff companion to be. May Canopus be damned. Anonymous pamphlet. I spit on the streets of Canobras. I spit on its granite walls and its stained glass windows. If tomorrow the ground trembles, splits apart, and devours this cursed city, I will not shed one tear. No one here, not a single soul, deserves any compassion. Everyone who lives in this city is a criminal. If there were any justice in this world, every one of them would be hanging from the gallows. Prelate Horan and Queen Galfrey chief among them. Ask anyone on the streets. what they know of mongrels, the answer will be dumb silence, or the lowered eyes of a scoundrel who knows their crimes but doesn't want to think about it. Mongrels, a disgusting nickname, which the residents of the city have given to the brave Crusader heroes who defeated the forces of evil but paid for it with their health. Covered with scabs and tumors, bloated and gnarled, they were no longer beautiful enough to be tolerated by the people they had saved. As a reward for their heroism, the city dwellers exiled them to the sewers and damp caves beneath the city. The author of these words went down there and spoke with them, and I'll have you know that the ugliest of them is more noble than all of the paladins of Mendev, not to mention that head-chopping prelate and his murderous queen. And if any pretend that today's city dwellers aren't responsible for the crime of their grandfathers, then I will spit in their face, for the grandchildren of the exiled are still down there, crawling in the mud and eating garbage, and everyone who knows about this and does nothing, and everyone who should know but prefers blissful ignorance, I say they are all guilty, and they repeat the same crime every day. And as long as this doesn't change, any citizen who desires to fight a demon should take a knife and stab themselves in the stomach, for your city is already rotted, and you are no better than the demons. And if anyone would repent and right this terrible wrong, they should turn their weapons on the prudish paladins who preach good but defend an order that flies in the face of justice. Down with the paladins, down with Prelate Holren, down with Queen Galfrey. Amen, brother. Amen. We've already got Holren gone, so basically already there. The knight is so absorbed in reading the letter that he takes no notice of you or anything around him. He smiles and seems like he's about to kiss the paper. I wonder when I'll see a real battle. Everything so far has just been a warm-up. Oh, you poor soul. No idea what's coming, do you? Alright. Ninio. Ah, boy. There you are. Very good. Just in time. You'll be delighted to know that I need you for an experiment. So the great garrison stands roofless. Demons are running for the hills with their tails between their legs. Mendev's queen. What was her name? It's on the tip of my tongue. Ah, yes. Galfrey is scurrying to and fro. And all this is somehow connected to you, my loyal follower. Thus far, there is no scientific evidence of your exceptionality, if one discounts blind faith and divine intervention, which I do. We, people of science, refuse to believe in the inexplicable without any proof. We are the ones who explain the inexplicable. Ninio punctuates her statement with an energetic sweep of her arm. And therefore, open your mouth and say, ah, for me. No. Secretiveness, Being secretive implies you have secrets. Ninio stares at your mouth like a hunter staring at his prey. What do you have in there? A blue tongue? Blackened teeth? Or can you breathe fire now? But I suppose we can postpone the visual examination for now. Imagine a hypothetical situation. You're a tree. 2 squirrels have found their way into your hollow and are now copulating there. What do you do? Let them copulate. Why should I care? An unconscious act of good, allowing 2 lesser creatures to procreate, or protecting them during this crucially important process. On to the next question. Another hypothetical situation. You're a tomato. You have just been picked from the vegetable patch and put into a crate. You know that today the cook will use half of the tomatoes from your crate to make soup. What do you do? If I'm going to be eaten, there's not much I can do. That's the fate of a tomato. I try to dig deeper into the crate. There's nothing I can do. I'm a tomato, remember? I dig deeper into the crate. An unconscious act of rejecting the unspoken rules and laws underpinning the functioning of the universe. Yes, it's all quite clear to me. An absence of any desire to obey anyone, in addition to kindness and concern for the weak and powerless. Your reasoning is like that of an Azada. Close enough. Like an evil Azada. On that note, I deem this experiment complete. Thank you for your participation. Ninio looks at you, pensively, and then gestures at you with his wide sweep of her arm. And yet you remain a puzzle to me. I love puzzles. One of these days I will solve you completely. Unless I forget. Now I have time to answer your questions. Come on, ask away. Nope, I'm getting out of here. Run. Ember. Ember is bobbing her head and humming a tune. She greets you with a carefree, cheerful smile. Her wandering eyes linger on you for just a moment before darting off again into the distance. Are you handling your new abilities? Abilities? The girl tilts her head to her shoulder. What are you talking about? Oh, the tricks you learned when the big gray house blew up. They're funny. Thanks for teaching them to me. The queen gave me the title Knight Commander and put me in charge of an army. What do you think about that? Now focuses her wandering gaze on you or her eyes, smiles and shakes her head. Don't believe titles. All of us in the world are children of the street, barefoot, hungry, sacred, or scared. A step away from death. Some imagine they're strong and rich, like gods. But don't forget who you really are, behind the title. I gotta go, so go. I have some weird weirdos in my party, don't I? Oh no, Hiller did come with us, so we can respec if we want to. Good to know. Camellia. Greetings. What do you think of the powers you received from me? She shrugs nonchalantly. People of noble descent grow accustomed to ample opportunity. The powers I receive from you are useful, but I see no point in treating them with excessive piety. Okay. Horgus. There you are. I've been waiting. Horgus Gwyrm has been expecting you, thumb stuck in his belt. As you see, I too have joined the crusade. I don't know how to swing the sword, but war is costly, and I have money. Besides, my intellect and business sense may prove useful even on the battlefield. Besides, I believe, Horgus shifts awkwardly from foot to foot, I believe I owe you an apology. The way I behaved was rude, ill-mannered. You are an honest and honorable person. Well, you have clawed your way up from the bottom of society to the title Knight Commander, and you are friends with King Galfrey herself. Such persistence deserves respect. Horgus tilts his head in a brief acknowledgement of your merits. Please allow me to give you this magical amulet from my humble personal treasury to mark our future cooperation. Amulet of Blackened Mirror. Tell me your story again. Don't really need to hear it. Oh, I think we've gone through all this. Yeah. Wait. Yeah, we've asked that before, haven't we? Yeah. Why have you decided to support the crusade now? With all due respect, that's none of your business. I have my reasons. Perhaps I felt a rush of patriotism when Canopus was destroyed. Anyway, why would you think I never supported the Crusaders? Perhaps I simply don't like to brag about my donations. Ostentatious charity only attracts beggars. I'd wager that Erebeth has no idea whose money she's spending on drinks and supplies. Why'd you hide the fact that Camellia is your daughter? Didn't I tell you this at the mansion? It's because her mother, Iris, was a lowly half-elf who looked after my garden. I always wanted to join the Gwyrm family name. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we read that. Yeah. How did Camellia's mother die? Horgus pierces you with a long, heavy stare. I'm not going to tell you about that. Some things ought to remain private. What can you tell me about Count Daron Arende? The nobles of Canabris should be acquainted with each other, shouldn't they? He is a brilliant young man with a brilliant pedigree. And that story of his? The nobility is the glue that keeps our society together. I suppose that is why demons so often choose their estates as primary targets. Who would notice the demons' bloody massacres if they only slaughtered poor country folk? The Arende family shared the tragic plight of the Gwyrms. Along with many other members of the nobility, they fell victim to a treacherous attack during a major celebration taking place at their family estate. I hadn't received an invitation and was slightly insulted by the snub, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. The gods saved me from a terrible fate. All the guests died that day from a magical demonic disease. I sympathize with the Count deeply. He has endured so much, and it's no wonder he keeps himself aloof from me. I think this is due to the fact that Horgus Gwyrm's fate so resembles his own. And we both have to relive those horrible memories whenever we see each other. I have to go. Well, Jiff. Hey, Chief. Want to talk? You think of your new powers. Well, Jiff pauses to think, rubbing his chin. You mean what you did back there? I have a few ideas. We could send you to Patak's underground arena to fight. Give you a scary name, like Swift Sting or something like that. Give you a great cover story. Enemies burn down your house. You're avenging your dead family. The public eat that stuff up. Wear a shiny, eye-catching outfit. Or a black one, if you like black better. We'll split the prize money, 60-40. 60 for me, of course. You know, arranging fights isn't easy. Those people are tough. I'll be taking more of the risks than you. And after we get set up in Patak's, we'll tour different cities. Make some real money. What? You don't like the sound of that? Do you have any other suggestions? Wodrick grins, his yellow eyes lighting up. I got one more. Have you heard of Razmarin? Razmarin? It's some land in the River Kingdoms ruled by King Razmir. A friend of mine used to live in Razmirin. He got out of there as fast as he could. Long story short, this King Razmir of theirs is a god. He keeps his people under his heel. They're all terrified of what he might do. He sits on his throne wearing some white mask giving power to anyone. Come and take power from him, he says, as long as you believe in me. Wodrick quickly checks that no one is eavesdropping. But that friend of mine, the one who fled, has a half-sister on his old man's side who's a cook in the castle, and a washerwoman who the cook plays cards with in the evening told her a juicy rumor. Word is, Razmir isn't a real god at all, and he's got no powers. So, here's my point. You do have powers, pretty scary ones too. Well, we'll find some shabby little kingdom. I'll start some rumors. You'll show off a few tricks to wow the locals, and that's it. We'll make you a deity, but first I want you to put it in writing that I'll be your chief advisor. I'm not doing anything just on the nod. I've been there. People promise you mountains of gold, and then when it comes to it, they are all get lost, or I'll send the dogs on you. So, do you like the idea? Call myself a god and deceive people? That's disgusting. You should be punished for your heretical thoughts. It's a great idea. We'll get to work on it as soon as we get out of this mess. Yeah, Manarak does like that idea. Or just rubs his hands, pleased. I'm gonna make you such a legend, you'll love it. A survivor in Canabras becomes a god. We'll make you a cult. That'll put Iomedae to shame. In the meantime, you can think about what you want on your coins. And my insurance, don't forget to write the declaration making me your chief advisor. Alright, later. You. Damn it, you again. Who was that? Saw you talking to a girl hiding her face. Who was she and what did she want? Tell me. I don't know, Commander. She never introduced herself, but I bet she's not part of our army. I know all of our soldiers by name and by sight. Wilker frowns gloomily, his cordiality gone in an instant. She was looking for some elf volunteer. Wanted to know which tent he was sleeping in. At first I thought she was a messenger from Endev. She definitely wasn't one of us. But now I see how it all looks mighty shifty. He eyes you with concern. She was some sort of spy then. Your supply would do any wine shop proud. Do the Crusade really need this much alcohol? Wilker smiles shyly. Don't think I'm trying to encourage drunkenness among the Crusaders. It's all in good fun. A way to blow off some steam. When soldiers can gather by the fire and raise a cup to honor the living and the dead, it reminds them that life goes on. But those who drink to excess or to the detriment of their duties won't get a drop from me. There's no sight more depressing than a drunkard. Yeah. Here you go. Another 500 gold for me. We have 30,000 gold. We have a lot of gold. I believe I can buy from you too, right? Do you actually have anything neat? Nah, it's just cold iron stuff. Just noticed that I have radiance in my inventory. Alright, where is, Oh, he's up here. Okay. Let's talk to Nura. I am impressed that all of you have replenished your loot. Thank you. Knight Commander, how can I help? There is much I can do. Just ask. Nura looks at you with eyes filled with enthusiasm. She's holding a notebook and a traveler's inkwell. You probably heard about the wound I have, the one that sometimes opens on my chest. Can you perhaps tell me if it's some kind of demonic curse? Yes, indeed. I've been told of your affliction. Nura peers at the center of your chest. Can you will the wound to open? No? That's a shame. What can you tell me about it? Well, it's difficult to say. I know of blades that leave never-healing cuts, or of poisons that stop wounds from healing. I've heard of witches' curses that are rewarded with eternal wounds. But wounds that seem to reopen and heal over and over? Perhaps you know of other cases like this? Let me think. In 4671, a Mendevian army corporal had all his bones and cartilage turned to glass. In 4700, a scribe in Canabras had all her skin simply come away like she'd been boiled. And in 4638, oh, you don't happen to have insects crawling over you? Locusts? No? Rats, perhaps? Too bad. Nera looks at you with genuine regret. Do you think it's dangerous? It most likely is dangerous, but you are under the protection of Iomedae, Commander. She granted you mythic powers, as they say. Surely the Inheritor would not leave you to face this alone. Have you perhaps noticed that the wound opens at the moments when you waver in your faith? Perhaps it's triggered by doubt? Frowning, Nera looks at you with sincere concern. Thank you. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you anything useful. I'll be sure to study the matter and consult a few of my encyclopedias. Tell me about yourself. Oh my. I could tell you so many amazing things, and you choose the most boring one of all. But alright. About myself then. Where are you from? Isgir. A small piece of land that proudly calls itself a country, though it hasn't been independent for a single day in all the centuries it's existed. They have a lot of national pride, but all of it is borrowed, always looking to the great day when they can at last be free from the rule of Cheliax. The Isgiri love talking politics. If two of them start bargaining over beats at the market, you can be sure that they'll end up arguing about whether an independent Isgir will be monarchy or a republic. I've always found it funny to listen to, and a little disgusting. You see, there are a lot of us halflings in the country, but very few are citizens. Most are slaves. I was lucky. I've always been clever, ever since I was little, so they sent me to school instead of making me do the grunt work. They taught me to count and write, and I was sold as a secretary to Lord Axelar Chesbot. Heard that name before? He's the one I left Isgir with. Never to return, I hope. Yeah, who did we hear that? Was that a book's name, maybe? How did you come to serve Queen Galfrey? I was a slave of Lord Axelar Chesbot in Isgir, my homeland. Oh, what a man he was. He towered over his fellows like a rock over a garbage heap. A true hero. He bought me as a simple secretary, but he made me learn the history of the world boon. All of it. One volume after another. He hired tutors for me, even sent me to meet prominent historians. He didn't want a simple slave, but a slave with an impeccable education. Lord Chesbot was going on a crusade. He firmly believed that the servants of the good gods were weak, and only a follower of Asmodeus could stand against a demon invasion. He took me along as a secretary, a historian, and, most importantly, he entrusted me with recording his glorious story for future generations. In his crusade, Lord Chesbot performed many brave feats, but even he could not stand against the world wound alone. In his final battle with the demons, when my lord realized he was doomed, his final act was to cover my retreat, so that I could tell the world of his great deeds. Some people have said what he did was not heroic, just an arrogant moron, puffing himself up one last time. But I say curse their tongues. My difficult journey ended in Mendev, where I found my freedom. There I published Lord Chesbot's biography, that's probably what it was. And I don't want to boast, but, who am I kidding? Of course I do. The book sold in great numbers. It made me rather famous for a time. That's what brought me to the Queen's attention. She invited me to her court. After all, she was curious about my deceased lord. And she was in great need of an expert on the history of the world wound. I hope you'll find me as useful as well. So you're not just a historian, but a writer too? You write a book about my crusade? Why not? As soon as we finish off the demons, I'll get right to it. Just take care that you don't end up like Lord Chesbot. Do you worship any deity? She takes a wry face. When I was a slave in Isgir, they would beat me with a stick to force me into believing in Asmodeus. They hit me and said it was for my own good. Ever since then, I don't like temples. I realize there are different gods like Desna and Caden who teach goodness and freedom, but it's just, as soon as I smell frankincense, I see the slave driver's stick. Maybe one day I'll be able to return to a deity without cringing from a blow for not being reverent enough. But for now, I let others pray for me. Nera's smile trembles and collapses. Damn. She wanted to add something, but decided to let the painful subject drop. Thank you. You're welcome. Tell me the history of the world wound. Oh, Jesus. Oh, I could talk about that for hours. What exactly do you want to know? Tell me about Old Socorus. It was an unforgiving country, inhabited by numerous tribes of Kelid barbarians. Imagine Numeria, but without the Metal Mountains, or the realm of the Mammoth Lords, but with a milder climate. That's Sarkoris. The country was ruled by priests of forgotten deities and shamans. It is said that even back then, before the World Wound, the boundary between worlds was especially thin in this region. Since ancient times, Discari had his claws sunk deep into the minds of the locals. His cults thrived here for many centuries. Eredin tried to stamp him out, but in the end, of course, he passed away. How did the World Wound come to be? It happened the year Eredin died, 4606, a little over a century ago. No one knows if the timing was coincidental or if there's some connection with Eredin's death. But I'll tell you what we do know. The priests and shamans who ruled Socorus hated arcane magic and all who practiced it. Wizards and sorcerers were driven from the land, or worse. One of their prisoners held a witch named Aurelia Vorlish. We know nothing about her besides her name, and, of course, the atrocity she committed. By some unknown method, she managed to harness the terrible powers of the demon lord Discari. Together, they tore open the barrier between worlds, opening a rift to the abyss in the very middle of Sarkoris. The world wound slowly but mercilessly expanded, devouring more and more land. In a matter of years, Sarkoris was a memory. After a moment of silence, Nera adds softly, "Sometimes I think, what did they do to Rilu in that prison? Just imagine, she was ready to give herself to the abyss. If only the demons might devour her torturers along with her. To imagine such hatred, it terrifies me." First Crusade. It began in 4622. So 16 years after the World Wound opened? Yes, it took the church and the secular authorities nearly 2 decades and hundreds of thousands of lives before they decided to take action. Okay, so she comments on it. In the meantime, Sarkoris was only supported by a handful of volunteers. By the time the crusade began, the demons had already invaded Mendev. The Crusaders pushed them back, in what must have seemed a total triumph at the time. The forces of good easily crushed the demons on all fronts. They erected Dresden on the very lands they conquered, an indestructible fortress and the capital of the Crusader movement. In 4630, 8 years after it began, the First Crusade was declared victorious. It was the first triumph of the Crusaders, and unfortunately, their last. The Second Crusade? In 4638, the world wound suddenly started expanding and a new wave of demons appeared. The Crusaders were all but delighted. Last time, they'd routed the forces of the Abyss, and they welcomed another chance to prove themselves. But this time, everything was different. Instead of scattering gangs, they faced a large and organized army. Dresden was besieged, and the Crusaders lost all the land they'd won back before. They had to retreat, and all that remained of Sarkoris was left to the demons. But while the monsters were devouring the unprotected lands, the Crusaders erected a chain of ward stones along the border with the World Wound. We have Iomedae and her herald to thank for their help. It was the Second Crusade's only victory, but it halted the wound's growth. The catastrophe had become a stalemate at the cost of tremendous sacrifice. Third Crusade. About 50 years after the opening of the World Wound, Discari found an ally. Baphomet entered the war, a cunning, insidious demon lord who prefers deception to open conquest. He sets his enemies against each other and lures the victorious or the virtuous onto paths of wickedness. Traitors appeared among the Crusaders, secret agents of his cult. For a time, no one suspected a thing, even as they watched helplessly as the Crusader movement fell to ruin. Where once valor proudly stood, now greed and dumb cruelty reigned, and outrage was drowned in apathy. In 4665, the church announced a new crusade, hoping to boost morale. They didn't succeed, to put it mildly. Some fought the demons in earnest, and for a time they even dared hope to retake Dresden. The Third Crusade would be remembered as a witch hunt. In every sense, Inquisitors hoped to purge any cultists from the ranks of fighters. But instead, they got a barrage of denunciations, widespread suspicion, and innocent victims. It sometimes happened that two orders would denounce each other as traitors and wipe each other out, much to the demon's delight. Just 3 years later, in 4668, the church put the disgrace to an end. Of all the crusades, that one was the least glorious. The Fourth Crusade. Of course, the demons had no intention of sitting quietly caged behind the ward stones. They kept attacking Canabras, trying to reach the stone and destroying it, or just scratch its surface, or if even that wasn't possible, befoul it. The Crusaders drove the demons away from the city again and again. The Fourth Crusade would last for 15 years, and an exhausting study in positional warfare. The demons attacked, and they were pushed back. The Crusaders went on the offensive and were forced to retreat, and all the while the loss was tremendous. The Fourth Crusade's only achievement was that they didn't let a single ward stone fall. They didn't retake a sliver of land, to say nothing of Dresden. So many lives just to maintain the stalemate. You can imagine how that affected morale. Thank you. I have to go. Okay. Episode is running a little long, but we've only got a couple people left to talk to, I think. Arabeth and our shifter friend.
You follow.
Commander, allow me to say something. Arabeth looks even more serious than usual. Before you, this wasn't a war. It was agony, drawn out over decades. No one believed in victory anymore. When the demons attacked the city, for some it was a relief. At least the end had come. They laid down their weapons and surrendered without a fight. I felt the same thing, but I somehow got through on stubbornness and the vague hope that if nobody found Anevia's body, she might, by some miracle, have survived. And that miracle was you. You returned my beloved to me when I nearly lost all hope of seeing her alive again. Then you went on a suicide mission to the Grey Garrison and won the city back for us. You turned a defeat into a victory. I know it wasn't easy, but you make everything seem so effortless. You do everything just like that, she says with a snap of her fingers. The Queen believes in your powers too, but for me, they're just more proof of what I felt that day when I saw Nevia alive standing next to you. You're the miracle we've been waiting for. You're the one who will finally put an end to this terrible war, and in spite of everything, deliver us the victory we so desperately need. With you, I'm sure this crusade will achieve what the others could not. I found a scabbard with your family name on it in the Great Garrison. Arabeth looks down. The scabbard held the solemn hour. My family's sword. My father once fought with it, and I took it when I left home to become a paladin. Alas, it was not stolen. I parted with it with my heirloom willingly to help someone dear to me. Anevia needed expensive healing, and having no other way to procure the money, I pawned my father's sword. I think he would have understood. I'm sure he would have given up everything to help the family. I hoped to redeem Solemn Hour eventually, but there was never enough money, and soon the sword disappeared from the pawn shop altogether. I have no idea who took it. Seems like I'll have to part with my father's sword forever. Is Anevia sick? You'll forgive me if I don't go into detail. It's a private matter. Suffice to say, everything is fine now. The treatment was costly, but it was worth it. You had the Order's coffers at your disposal. How can you even suggest that? Aerith lovingly traces the name imprinted in silver on the scabbard's leather. My parents were loyal servants, yet it wasn't enough to earn them a title or a coat of arms. Still, however humble our name might be, it is worth something. I don't know if I'll ever see the Solemn Hour again, but at least I have its scabbard back. Thank you. So it turns out the Queen has her head of counterintelligence watching me. I wonder why. You think the Queen doesn't trust you? If that were true, she wouldn't have put you in charge of this army. My main task is to be your advisor until you've gained enough experience as a commander. As for counterintelligence, Anevia and I were tasked with keeping an eye on your inner circle. But you're not under suspicion, Commander. You're under our protection. We need reinforcements. Can you get us more soldiers? Aerith frowns. When we began the march to Dresden, we chose speed over numbers. If I order more volunteers to be recruited, they simply won't arrive in time. We could pay mages to deliver the troops to the camp, except I doubt that our army's coffers could afford it. If you can spare 7,500 gold, I will see to our reinforcements. Go ahead. Consider it done. It's hard to believe your origin is so humble. You deserve a noble title more than many who inherit them. Erebeth's cheeks blushed a little. Thank you, Commander. It's an honor to hear that, especially from you. Every noble family begins somewhere. You must have heard the recent story from the stolen lands in the River Kingdoms. Oh, have I? Just imagine coming from nowhere and making it all the way to a royal crown in just a few years. Spoilers. Sometimes I wonder what would happen if I managed to distinguish myself somehow. But then I push away such unworthy, selfish thoughts, of course. We don't fight for rewards. The fate of the world is at stake. And yet, Erebeth's blush deepens and she falls silent. I have to go. She says goodbye. I like Erebeth a lot. I wish she was like an actual companion. I like Anevia too. Like both of them are amazing characters, I think. Alright, last thing. Olberic. Oh, Shay's got a whole bunch. Damn it. So, you're the war chief now. You're going to lead us to free Sarkoris from those Fae. Olberic nods his head with respect. I felt it the moment I saw you. This one is special. But that you'd go and get yourself a whole army in no time? That I did not expect. Well, how does your newfound power feel? Has it gone to your head yet? We're going to fight demons, not Fae. Fae, demons, angels. Olberic screws up his face and waves his hand in front of it like he's trying to get rid of a foul smell. They're all the same spooks. They could have stayed in their magic-y forests, happy as a pig in mud. But no, they had to poke their funny heads out into the mortal world. Hold on, don't change the subject, eh? What do you think about being war chief? Feel proud? Finally some much-deserved recognition? It's an odd feeling, so many people are counting on me. Oh, this is going to be so much fun. Why do you ask? Why do you ask? I thought I'd learn what was on my war chief's mind. Going to war is no small thing. If you'd rather not say, you don't have to. You'll show it in action. Well, I didn't come here just to flap my gums. Since I'm going to war and you're in charge, I'd better do this the right way. Olberic lowers his head and says solemnly, My blade and my life are yours, war chief. I mean, it's not like I need a blade. My talons and beaks will do the trick. But saying it like that is the done thing. My talons and beaks are yours. Just doesn't have the same ring to it. There's something else. I can already see things are bad, but the tales of all of Sarkoris burning down and its people dying out? I'm sorry, I don't believe those. It can't be true. We're not the kind of folk to just be snuffed out like that. I have kin in a village not far from here. Current Glen. Let's go there and talk to them. Have them fill us in. They're smart folks. Perhaps they'll help us in the battle too. Together, we'll clear up Sarkoris before you can say, Aren't you foul creatures? Olberic bumps his fist into his palm with a chuckle of bravado. All right, I'll go prepare the road ahead. Take care, war chief. Does he leave the party? Oh, okay. Cheers. Olberic takes a drink from his flask he's holding up. I don't know what this is, a dream, a phase illusion, or I've popped into another world. But you people sure know how to brew good beer. Yep. What do you think of your new powers? I don't like them. Can't deny that they're useful, but this is the way of things. I'm accustomed. The way of things I'm accustomed to. Every power must have a name. The powers that druids and shifters have are fair. Gods and spirits grant them to us, and only for good reason. First, you have to earn your power, prove you're worthy of it, show you're grateful for it. Then you can start using it. But this? Who gave it to us? For what purpose? What do we have to give in return? It's one mystery after another. I'll up and tell you what I think. This power feels a lot like ensorcery. In our lands, people could get sent to Threshold for toying with powers like these. For everyone's safety. Have to go. Alright, guys. Longer episode, a lot of reading got done here. Still got some loot to get. We'll go grab those in a little bit. But yeah, hope you have enjoyed. Until the next one, I hope you all have a wonderful day. And I'll catch you later.